What's going on, people? Welcome back to another video. My name is hughwizzy and you're watching Breaking News for that ass. Hope you're all doing well. Make sure you are subscribed if you're new. And drop the video a damn like if you breathe oxygen. This is going to be a quick one unless we can get to a couple of thousand likes very swiftly, okay? I've got things that I want to do to improve the stream. However, we are here to talk about the transfer news, the latest and greatest from the world of football. I know I did a video this morning talking about all the headlines, yesterday's Europa League games, but there is still plenty to be going over. News never stops in the world of football. How are you, my fraudulent friends? How is the family? How is the fraud gang? I see certified fraud gang members. New members of the Fraud Gang Members Club. I can see you exercising your emotes, emojis, whatever they're called. They look fantastic, as do you. And as new members arrive, we will welcome them to the gang. The Fraud Gang Members Club. Oh, it feels good to be alive today. Lots of talk regarding transfers that I will be spending a lot of time over, and I don't usually like to focus on Spursy business. However, we will be starting with news from Tottenham, who have officially completed the signing of Pierre-Emile Højbjerg from Southampton, with Kyle Walker-Peters going in the opposite direction. What do we think about the deal? Who gets the better of the two? I've got to say Spurs. Højbjerg's moved for a fee of around £25 million, which is, oh, that was their asking price, isn't it? Sorry, they were asking for 25 million, and he's gone for about 15. Now, if Kyle Walker-Peters is worth 12, subtraction and simple mathematics leaves us to see that they've spent about £3 million and they've got themselves a really nice player who could well balance Spurs' midfield. Let's think about their midfield options for a second. If they are to get rid of Ndombele, which would be a mistake, really, but may well be happening because Jose Mourinho doesn't seem to get on very well with him. If they were to keep him, though, you could potentially see Højbjerg sitting at the back of a three with Ndombele and who else have you got there? I guess a Lo Celso or a Winks. You don't really want Dele Alli playing in that middle three anymore, I don't think, especially with the way that Spurs are going to have to play on the counter-attack under Jose Mourinho. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And we have got another Pierre in North London. A lot of these frauds in the chat getting involved. They've got questions that they want answered already. Lads, we're going to get to the super chats instantly. Noel Wheeler, welcome to the True Fraud Gang Members Club. You are appreciated. I see you. I see you.
You've got to fucking die to get 3 points.
You really have. Anthony Williams says, Fraud Gang, assemble. We are here. We are going to get down to breaking news. I'm not really that inspired by this signing, but I would say that I think it's a very shrewd deal. That is what I'd say. Daniel Levy is very capable of extrapolating value where it is quite difficult to do so in the transfer market these days. Anthony Williams, you're a legend. Rune the Norse is our newest Fraud Gang member. A beautiful man. A beautiful man. I love the picture. Incredible scenes. Look at that shiny, fraudulent bald head. It is looking schmexual. You wear it well. The shades. You're looking like you work for MI5. Tom Snack, you fraud. Why are you... The fraud lord is never late, okay? I'm never late. I'm always on time. Time is not something that I subscribe to either. I have to tell you that I do not live in the Matrix, okay? Time. I'm hearing people talking about New Year's celebrations already when there's 4 months to go in the year. What's that all about? You're making New Year's resolutions in August. Just get on with it, mate. Just get on with it. Fix up, get on with it. Yeah? Time, it's a myth. It's a human construct. I do not subscribe. I'm never late. Creative username says, set up a Patreon and call it Only Frauds. Mate, I'm not going to be taking the clothes off any more than I already do on this channel. So we won't be doing that. Twerking Man says, do I dislike if I breathe CO2? Mate, just exercise those freeloading fraudulent thumbs, mate. Jack Belgin, you're an absolute legend. He is a Spurs fan who says he's excited for Højbjerg. And Creative Username has added that he's got 4 goals and 4 assists in 109 appearances. So it may well actually be a W for Southampton. Let's switch back over because there is a little bit that I want to say about the deal. Both of the players have signed 5-year contracts. And after Højbjerg made the move from Bayern Munich to Southampton for about 13 million pounds, it is, you know, another slight profit that they've made, I guess, and they are able to fill a gap that they're looking to fill themselves. Hassan Hutel seems to want Kyle Walker-Peters in his plans, even though there were times when he was exposed last season. Let's be fair, he has got, under 20, I think, international experience with the, the World Cup was in 2017, wasn't it? So how old does that make him? Like 21 or 22 or something? But anyway, he's got potential to get better. There's no doubt about that. And the two have officially made the switch. We will move on to the Mirror, who is saying that Aaron Ramsey is unwanted by new Juventus boss Andrea Pirlo and he's free to find a new club. However, what this doesn't say is that he's also free to sit on his arse and collect his extraordinarily large wage packet. I think before tax, he's on £400,000 a week. I'm not sure exactly how that works out. In Serie A, it is slightly different. But, let's be honest, Aaron Ramsey's time at Juventus may well be slightly more short-lived than we'd all thought. As it stands, I just want to give you a live update. Wolverhampton Wanderers currently 1-0 down to Sevilla, who have just scored in the 88th minute of their Europa League playoff tie through Lucas Ocampos, the former Monaco Argentine. Shakhtar Donetsk also 4-0 up, but it looks like Wolverhampton Wanderers are going to be dumped out of the Europa League, which is a shame because everyone has kind of been thinking about this Wolverhampton against Manchester United clash. I think a lot of people had tipped Wolves to win it. Sevilla are no slouches themselves. 88th minute, they are 1-0 up as it stands. Tom Snack says, would you take Ben Rama to Arsenal? And your opinion on this midfield? Aurora? Partey? Van der Beek? I mean, look, this is career mode stuff you're talking about. I don't know if that's ever going to be possible. Ben Rama, definitely. However, I'm not sure that he's actually as really good as people think or as productive as you would want from a player who's going to demand like quite a large fee, I would have imagined, or at least wage packet, considering that he doesn't have the connection anymore. I would take him, but it's not top. It's not elite level. It's not elite level. He's a fun player that is going to get better, I'm sure, but it's not the finished article. I see a lot of their games, Brentford, and whilst he's definitely like naturally talented player, he's like a £15 million player in my opinion, I think. Victor Edwards says, waxing your taint. Opinions. I'm not actually sure what you mean, but I'm going to presume that is slang for something else. So you do you, you know. We're all fallible and all fraudulent, and you just enjoy what you're doing. Anyhow, Aaron Ramsey not wanted by Andrea Pirlo, who has reportedly been studying the likes of Ajax and AZ in the Netherlands in terms of how he wants to approach his time at Juventus, building with the youth and with technical passing players. You would have thought that Aaron Ramsey would have fit into that, but apparently not. He will be one of several players that Juventus are looking to offload this summer, including Douglas Costa, Let me know your thoughts on whether you think Aaron Ramsey would even entertain a move back to the Premier League. I'm not going to suggest Arsenal because I don't know why Arsenal fans get so just weak whenever an Arsenal player becomes available, a former Arsenal player becomes available. We seem to bend over backwards to make it, a thing. Is it a thing? Would he even want to come back to the Prem? Does he have aspirations of doing a Gareth Bale and sitting it out there? He's got no reason to leave, basically. Other news from Italy is that Milan have reached an agreement with Zlatan Ibrahimovic to extend his contract for a further season. I do find this guy quite incredible. I'm not going to lie. I'll bring up his stats for a second here. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, 38 years old, and it says he's got a value of 2.5 million, but that's absolute nonsense, really, isn't it? 18 appearances last season with 10 goals and 5 assists. He is still able to do the business to change whole teams' energy, scoring goals for fun, really, and he's just such a alpha male who just dominates and just makes things happen, even when he's pushing 40. So it looks like AC Milan have, thankfully for fans, I guess, extended Zlatan Ibrahimovic's time at the club for another season.
I'm so happy, believe me. I'm so happy. Happy New Year.
Okay, what have we got next? Next up, just a quick stat here, that Harry Maguire has played more minutes in the Premier League than any other. Actually, it's not even the Premier League. It's actually mad, this. He's played more minutes than anyone in the whole of last season in any competition of any nationality at any age group. Because initially I thought that this was just the Premier League, but he's actually played 54 games, and Victor Nelson, who plays for Copenhagen, has played 54 games, but still less time as well. And obviously they're in different leagues, so it's adding up Europe. We've got Celtic here with Callum McGregor, not Conor McGregor. But anyway, Harry Maguire playing 5,412 minutes, the most played player in European football. Manchester United really trying to squeeze every last little buck of value they can out of him. I feel a little bit for him because he's come under come in for a lot of stick, but United's defensive record has been fantastic, really, when you consider in terms of the rest of the league. And he's played more minutes than any other player, literally, in Europe, like at any level. So he's going to make a mistake or two, or there's going to be moments where you can pick out and, analyse and say that he's not all that. But that in itself is fair play. Next up, we have got trolling being done by Borussia Dortmund. Of course, the Jadon Sancho deal hasn't happened as of yet. It may well still do, but United look like they're going to be either played here and made the source of many a meme online, or they're going to have to dig very deep into their back pocket and pay the full price. That game now in Wolves Sevilla is in the 95th minute. Still Wolves 0, Sevilla 1. I'll update you when it is full time or if anything else changes. But it does look like Borussia Dortmund are on the full troll here, with Alex Axel Witsel saying on Jadon Sancho, he stays and we are all happy. He's one of our most important players. This is really good news for us to keep him for a minimum one more season. Now, I don't know whether this is like the PR spin from Dortmund, but a lot of their players have been coming out recently and saying, we're really happy that Jadon has decided to stay. Mats Hummels was the one yesterday who publicly said that he needed to see players like Sancho, and especially he was happy to see the Englishman remaining. Super chat's coming through. I see you, Fraud Gang members. Let me just prioritise you. SA says, Ramsey not the required tech, clearly. He might buy a restaurant. Oh, mate, doing a Willian. Incredible. The Signature says, we get excited over ex-players as they would improve us. As we've gone backwards as a club, most of them left prior to their peak. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, and I appreciate the truth. Hard-hitting home truths there. A lot of players who've left the club would improve us still. I hear that. I just don't like the idea of looking backwards. I'm all about forwards. However, each to their own. Perhaps you would welcome Aaron Ramsey back with open arms. Would Arsenal be able to pay a player like that the amount that he's on? Yeah, that is debatable. Anyway, in sort of links news to Bay. I guess it's not really because he's a free agent. But David Beckham has said that he wants to bring Mario Götze to Inter Miami, who have, of course, just signed Blaise Matuidi, who I think has undergone a medical yesterday. That in itself is quite a sensational move, even though he's not been in form and Juventus are going to get some money back. It is a World Cup winning Champions League player. And that much you would like to see more of in MLS. In fact, if they could get like 10 more of that kind of standard of player, a lot more people will be watching the league. It's not come cheap though, that's for sure. And Mario Götze has, as it stands, said that he's not quite ready to make the move to MLS, or at least he's still weighing up his options, because there are several clubs still chasing the former Bay German. Liverpool getting £175 million as a result of winning the Premier League, which I think is the highest that anyone's ever been paid for winning it. Premier League clubs are going to receive all their prize money in full for last season after agreeing to delay any reductions after the COVID break. Charles has just dropped in and he says, Liverpool bought a defender. What else do they need? Keep the live streams coming. Colorado fraud gang. Colorado.
I would say that,
Yes, Liverpool bought a left back yesterday. We talked about it in the paper talk. A left back from Olympiacos. He's 24 years old, get about 40 grand a week. And he played quite well against Wolves, actually, who have now been eliminated from the Europa League. That is the end of that. Unfortunately, for the English game, I guess, we won't get to see an all-English semi-final. Sevilla now move on to play Manchester United. And that is a great shame. I really was looking forward to seeing Raul Jimenez and, the likes of Moutinho, Diego Jota, Adama Traore going head-to-head with Manchester's finest. Well, Manchester's finest, that's debatable, isn't it? However, Wolves have been knocked out. Sevilla go through to play Manchester United, and Inter Milan will face Shakhtar Donetsk, who've beaten Basel 4-1 in their knockout tie quarter-final. Let me know your thoughts on who you think is going to win the Europa League. I'd love to know. Inter Milan looking like they may well be a lot of people's favourites, but Manchester United, don't write them off. Sevilla, good footballing side. Très intéressant. As is this, coming out of Spain from El Chiringuito. This is quite a famous Spanish TV football gossip show, and they have basically said that Real Madrid have got two operations, two little operations, two little transfer dealings that they're trying to sort out with their own players. The first of which concerns Sociedad loanee Martin Odegaard, the Norwegian, I'd say he's a number 10 / whatever. He's just attacking mid or forward. He's basically in Zinedine Zidane's plans now, if we're to believe what these guys are saying. It's certainly being made out that he's made a call to Real Madrid, to Sociedad, and said to them that unfortunately this season he is going to be integral to Real Madrid's plans. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but it does seem very similar to the news coming out concerning Arsenal's Ceballos. I say Arsenal's, he is Real Madrid's player. And Zidane giving out similar kind of signals as far as Dani Ceballos goes, doing a U-turn, as you can see the headlines here, all stating that Arsenal are going to have to face a real blow and look for other options because Dani Ceballos is actually wanted by Real Madrid. Zinedine Zidane is keen to keep the Spanish midfielder because he sees him as a potential replacement for Luka Modric, who is in his 30s and, in his 30s, he's not getting any younger. This is a real turnaround, really, because initially we thought that Real Madrid weren't really interested in him. He's kind of been piled off, hasn't he, and just kind of left to do his thing in England. I guess he's proved himself in a way, especially since the restart. He's been one of Arsenal's best players, and I think it would be a great move for the club to extend the loan at least. But the fact of the matter is that his departure may well free up space that needs to be filled, and that could push Arsenal to go in for a player like Thomas Partey, who is still, if we are to believe some of the fraudulent publications and journalists that are out there, Arsenal's main target, or at least one of the main targets. Rumours still doing the rounds that Alexandre Lacazette is being chased, and especially that the club are willing to sell him. He's one of the players that Arsenal are thinking that they could cash in on if they need to raise transfer funds, which they are going to do if they want to secure the services of Partey, because he's going to cost them about 45 million euros. We're sticking with the Arsenal news because we have, of course, got some stuff to talk about with a certain Brazilian defender. However, before I get onto that, I do just want to say regarding Lacazette, he is on a list of players, obviously, that Arsenal are looking to kind of raise funds for the window from, but there've got to be other better ways of doing that, you know. The more I think about it, the more I think he's actually crucial, and it will be really difficult to replace not necessarily the amount of goals, because even bringing Willian in gives you 10 extra goals, or at least maybe 8 goals. But the kind of camaraderie that he's got with Aubameyang, the love affair that these two boys have built, I wouldn't be surprised if Aubameyang isn't that keen on Lacazette moving. I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually kind of resting on Lacazette being there or bringing other top players to the club. Let me know your thoughts. I know that it really is quite a polarising debate. A lot of people seem to think that he isn't good enough or that he hasn't really lived up to the expectations. But remember, he was Arsenal's Player of the Year just a year ago, and it's not really all about goals and assists, is it? Firmino doesn't really get a lot of goals, does he? And he is integral to the way that they play. Adding Willian is an interesting one. We talk about Brazilians, if only because he's being talked about in a more central role. And that in itself could free up, or it just gives us some more options, doesn't it, really? This is the, who is this? This is the Independent, no, not the Independent, it's the Athletic, God. There's an element of interest in Alexandre Lacazette at Arsenal, who would be willing to do a swap deal or a trade for the right price. Basically, okay, so this is Juventus, basically. David Ornstein saying that Juventus are interested in him. They might do a swap, and one of the players that you could potentially be getting is a Douglas Costa. God, loves it, doesn't he? He just loves his face. Yeah, anyhow, much fraudulence there. We will move on. This is what a lot of people have been tuning in for. I've got some news about this kid, Gabriel. We're going to go into a little bit of detail. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Do me the honour of pressing the like button as well. That would be much appreciated. Much love to all the Fraud Gang members that have joined the Fraud Gang Members Club. I'm going to give you a little shout out because I really do appreciate you going the extra mile to show support for the channel. I'm really going to use everything to invest in making the quality of these streams and just the content that goes out on this channel better. I appreciate your patience while we've been improving it. I know that it's improved a lot since we were not that long ago. So some of you will have seen the progression. There will be more very shortly. We've got a green screen on the way. There's some lights on the way. And I'll be doing some interviews once I can make the setup, legitimate. But anyway, just to say that you are all appreciated and I see all of you. That's Stray, Rune the Norse, Noah Wheeler, Patrick Upez, Alexander K, DC Drums, Tom Warwick, Made in Brooklyn, Corey Giggs, the original one, Chris Evans, Shoria Takar, Alex Matthews, and a whole bunch more from yesterday. Much love to your mothers. You are absolute legends, and you're making the future of this channel possible. Okay, right. So little chat anyway we're going to do about this guy, Gabriel Magalhaes. This is a youngster. Should we have a look at his... let's have a look at his transfer statistics. Stats are for mugs, but we need to know as much as we can about this guy. I'm going to talk to you about the deal itself, exactly what's been going on, and why there is some confusion about the length of time that it's taking for news to develop around the 22-year-old Brazilian who was born in Sao Paulo, centre-back, obviously, who is working with Elenco Sports Limited, an agency who have Malcolm, that's interesting, former Arsenal target himself, Emerson, the Brazilian left-back at Chelsea, and a couple of others that we don't need to worry about. Regardless, Gabriel, at 22, has played 24 games and is Lille's first choice centre-back, I guess. His value, as you can see, has been skyrocketing since he left Troyes in France to play for Lille and signed for them for £2.7 million. Not bad, considering they're looking at making about 30 million from his sale. And the three clubs that are interested, well, I guess it's four clubs. Let's talk about them. Four clubs interested. Initially, it was Everton. And Everton officials basically had his agents at the training ground in March. There was a contract offer made. They did loads of wooing, taking people to dinner and whatnot. And as it turns out, the Corona thing happened. And it kind of just put a scupper in the deal. He actually had a medical, passed the medical, and it looked like it was a done deal. But anyway, as we know, quarantine has changed everything. The virus has made lives really difficult and business complicated, with a lot of people losing their jobs. I would imagine that you yourself have in some way been affected. However, Gabriel played twice against Chelsea in the Champions League this season. He's attracted interest as a result of these performances from three other clubs, and Everton have kind of slipped to the back, it would seem, of this list. And those three clubs are Napoli, Arsenal and Manchester United. Now, by the end of May, Everton have completely dropped out. And what we've got is this relationship with Napoli and Lille after they signed Victor Osimhen. I think they've spent like £38 million on him. That's a club record. And as a result, they've got a little thing going. Okay, so it's quite likely that Napoli, who are intending to get rid of Koulibaly this season, are looking to cash in there and then spend that money on this guy, Gabriel Magalhaes. It would appear that that's what's holding the deal up, because until Koulibaly leaves, they're not going to have the money to reinvest in another centre-back. And as it stands, the only other that they have on their list is Lyon's Jason Denayer, who is, as far as they're concerned, a level below. I don't know how much truth there is to that, if I'm honest, because I've watched Gabriel and he does make mistakes. He is young. And if he was partnered with William Saliba, make no mistake, there would be errors leading to goals during a season. Over the course of a season, there would be things going wrong. But what this is, potentially, is a visionary move, progressive thought, where the importance is on the future, building something together. With the likes of William Saliba, you could be seeing one of the most dominant centre-back partnerships that football could create over the next, 10 years. So, add their youth to their, passing ability, to their physicality, all of which is great. There's a lot of potential for the two of them. However, Arsenal, as per usual, they don't do things the easy way. They like to scout for a long time. And even though they were offered the player in January, they are still not prioritising this guy as a first choice because of what's happened and the financial restrictions that are going to be out there. Pablo Mari obviously signed from Flamengo. And that in itself, I think, is going to mean that despite the fact that we do need more cover at the back, the focus is going to be on getting a midfielder in and Willian, possibly another attacking midfielder / forward or someone creative seems to be on the list as well. However, top of the list is your Thomas Partey, right? And that is what we're being told. Gabriel, not going to happen until Koulibaly has moved. And I hope that has cleared some of that confusion up. Arsenal, Manchester United and Napoli all being linked with Gabriel Magalhaes, £30 million rated Brazilian centre-back, who Napoli may well have first dibs on, given that they've had such a good experience with Lille in signing Victor Osimhen. So, let's go through some of your comments, questions, see if you're all good. That is your little transfer update. We will be doing more. Obviously, I do the morning video with Paper Talk. So if you are new to the channel, try and subscribe, get your notifications on, get involved. I see lots of Fraud Gang Members Club members joining the club. I will join you outside of the Matrix. Let's talk. I've got builders here, so it's kind of killing my routine. But late night fraudulence is a thing. Okay, it's beautiful to have so many of you in the chat. I hope you're all doing well. If you could drop the video a like, that would be much appreciated. It helps the channel grow, which in turn inspires me to carry on making content every day for that ass. Okay, the story of Doc. Welcome to the True Fraud Gang Members Club. You are appreciated, my good sir. I see you. I really do. Cash Chuckers says, why not play a back three? Louise is better in it. We can play but protect Saliba, Gabriel, and we have perfect players for wing backs. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. Arteta loves playing a back three. He's seen the impact that can have against big clubs already a couple of times late on. And I look forward to the new season, so much so that I have fully forgotten that we came 8th. We are a European club. That's what we do. That's who we are. We're going to sign big players because this club is gargantuan. And it makes no difference how you feel. Martin White. Oh, Martin.
I would say that, be excited.
You are a hero. You are a truly elite, certified Fraud Gang member. Welcome to the Fraud Gang Members Club. You're a special one. Khalid Ibrahim says, only a matter of if, not when, you achieve 1 million subs. Mate, I like this positive thinking. You're a genuine human, my favourite YouTuber. Living abroad, away from family and friends, your visits ease the distance for me. That is really nice to hear. I appreciate that a lot. I started the channel because I was in New York, a long way away from friends and family of my own, and the thing that I love the most, football. So being denied the chance to go to games or watch Match of the Day or whatever it was is what started me making videos in general. I cannot believe it's fucking crazy that, like, even now, I know it's years later, but that there are just thousands of people. It's insane. I will continue to do it. This is what I love doing. Hopefully that shines through. I cannot wait for the new season, man. I know that we've got still Champions League stuff to get through, Europa League to get through, transfer window to get through. All of that is exciting, and I love the journalistic side of that. But the new season, games kicking off, and being able to react and report on and just talk about with you what's been going on it's going to be good. It's going to be very, very good. I will be improving everything as well. The graphics, we're gonna be upgrading. I'm really excited for you to see what's being worked on. As it stands, it's a little bit of a time away because it's quite a big job. But trust me, it's gonna look fucking awesome. And once that's done, we're going in! We're going in! We're going balls deep, baby. Oh, yeah, I can't wait. Creative username, my brother. My absolute fraudulent friend. Welcome to the elite fraud gang members room. There is not much space in here. But you have definitely separated yourself from the rest with your username alone. Creative username. I see you. I appreciate you. Cameron Gregory says, love to everyone's mothers. Best Arsenal channel. Football channel, okay? I'm the Arsenal fan, but we've got to separate that if we're going to be able to have proper conversation, to be able to go forward. I will never be able to get rid of what I am, but to be able to see clearly, you need to take the blinkers off, you know? We will do constant Arsenal updates just because that is, something that I am truly obsessed with. But I don't want to scare anyone else off. We're going to be doing all kinds of football. When the Euros are on, we're going to be doing them. The World Cup in Qatar is happening soon. I've been to the last 2 World Cups and done a lot of content from there. There is some stuff on the channel if you haven't seen that already. And I'll be releasing stuff from Russia that I haven't even brought out because I want to make it into like a half an hour type documentary type thing. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to being able to do all of that stuff with the football that is on its way. Lunistis says, Hugh, I feel like you and Rory should do some form of weekly show next season. You're an entertaining duo. Just an idea. Big up all the frauds. Lunistis, we've been talking about it for a while. We'll get round to it. We will get round to it. If the people really want it, all you've got to do is ask us, okay? Hashtag fraud gang and send him a tweet, okay? You convince him and then he'll get in touch with me. I'm sure he will. What's it say? Red Nomness says, thoughts on the possible rumoured Lacazette exit. Well, we did talk about it. Alexandre Lacazette being linked to a move to Juventus. I personally want him to stay. I have too much love for this guy. He's got too much sauce. You're not going to get a striker with as much swag, with as much of a desire to be an Arsenal legend. Trust me, he wants to be an Arsenal legend. I really hope that he hasn't lost faith or that he hasn't been told that he is surplus to requirements, because it will be difficult for Arsenal to get a player that I can love as much as Lacazette. He's very lovable. He's very technically gifted as well. Very, very underrated footballer now. This is where we've reached. This is what happens. Basically, I'll call someone a fraud. Everyone starts going, oh, mate, he's rubbish. And then I go, no, he's not rubbish at all. He just had a moment. That's all. That's all. It would be a mistake to get rid of Lacazette, I'll tell you that. However, Arsenal obviously need money, so they're trying to work out how they can do it. That's why this is happening. I don't know that those links are totally true. First it was Atleti, then it was Juventus, and, Arsenal need the cash, unfortunately. So if it means that they can improve the squad by getting rid of some players, he may well be on that list. Sam Odgers, you are an absolute fraud, and I love you for it. Joseph Jimenez Silveira, newest member of the fraud gang. True frauds in the building. Reward bowl as well. Much love to your mother. You are greatly appreciated. Vast Spectre says, my man finally caught a stream. Where have you been? Where have you been? What do you think this is? You think this is just you could just turn up when you like?
You've got to fucking die to get 3 points.
Jesus. Unbelievable. The fraudulence on show. Now, much love for getting involved, and to everyone that has chilled out for the last 45 minutes of this beautiful day. Beautiful day! Huh? It's too hot. It's too hot. I can't deal with it. I need ice pops 24/7. I'm having 4 cold showers an hour. Ridicule. Tom Snack says Juventus, who are in need of wingers, won't even go for Willian because they know he's bad. He's a fraud. Also, have you seen the Anelka documentary? Thoughts? Okay, Tom, here's the thing. Willian lives in London. He has done for 7 or so years, I think. Is that right? I've just made that up. I've totally just made that up. Hold on. I think he's been at Chelsea for 7 seasons. Let's have a little butchers. I mean, that is a... What do they call that? It's a... That was a... I didn't think about it. It just happened. I don't know what that was. He's been 7 years. Oh, 7 years of fraud! Look at the knowledge! Oh, would you believe... Yeah. He's lived in London for ages. He's got a restaurant in London that he owns with the agent who's been bringing all these Brazilians to Arsenal. Kia Jurbiashian or whatever his name is. I don't know how to say his name. Can someone tell me how to say his name? Because I'd need to know. I've been skiving away from learning how to say his name for too long. Kia Jurabshian. Kia Jurabshian. Kia Jurabshian. Yeah. Okay. Is it Jurabkian? Kia Jurabshian. Yeah, you're a Shian. You're a Shian. Anyway. Yeah, this Don, right? He's got a restaurant with David Luiz and Willian. Look, there they are. Little frauds. My club is getting milked. What a joke. What's happened here? Ah, dear. Edu, who had to flee the country because he didn't have documentation. Yeah. It's all, I don't know. He nearly got arrested in Brazil because of, I mean... Should we have a look at his Wikipedia for a second and just see what comes up? Just see what random stuff comes up. Involvement in football. Tevez, Mascherano and West Ham United obviously is involved in one of the most fraudulent dealings of all time, which led to West Ham United being fined £5.5 million by the Premier League for entering into third-party contracts. Obviously, Tevez, instrumental in West Ham's avoiding relegation in the 2006-07 season. And the claim was eventually settled out of court because Sheffield United... Well, my sons, the Blades, took them to court on the grounds that Tevez should have been ineligible to play in their game. The claim was eventually settled out of court, with West Ham paying Sheffield United £20 million over the space of 5 years. This is true fraudulence. This deserves a fraud scene investigation. And this man is the one at the helm, not only of that deal, but of all deals that are taking place at Arsenal, it would seem. As it stands anyway. Let's have a look at what else he's been involved in. So there's a legal dispute there. He's got a connection to Manchester City and some involvement with Ramirez and Newcastle United. So the connection to Manchester City is that he was trying to facilitate the move of Kaká from AC Milan for £91 million in 2008. I guess that is the similar time for Ramirez. He's also been involved... Sorry, Robinho. He's also been involved in the Ramirez deal. Reportedly secured a 50% share in the Brazilian midfielder Ramirez for €6 million. So this is what he does. He just buys shares in players, and then when they get sold... Because he owns it, he's lining his pockets, generating millions of pounds in agents' fees, and I guess also clear just ownership. Very smart, very shrewd, almost certainly corrupt, and it just stinks to the high heavens, if you ask me. However, is what it is. This is football now, and you better enjoy it, okay? Soak it up, breathe it in, because that's what you're getting. Willian for lunch with a sprinkling of David Luiz and a side of Coutinho on his way, okay? If Coutinho isn't there this summer, it'll be next summer, or just at some stage. It's bound to happen. Way too predictable. Anyhow, Joseph... Oh, sorry. Chuckers says, if Zaha hired Kia, he'd be a gunner by Friday. Do we want Zaha at the Arse? Is that what we want? Is that what we're after as fans? Would you be interested in seeing Wilf? He does seem to be quite keen on the move, doesn't he? Getting, I'm not going to call him wasted, but inebriated, crunk, yeah, getting loose, getting low in the club. Zaha, wasn't he? And his friend tweeting or posting images on Instagram, basically, where it looked like he was very keen to get him a move. However, I'm just going to bring this over here so you can have a look and see what I'm looking at. I did talk about this yesterday, basically, but Wilfried Zaha in the club and a sign behind him saying Zaha to Arsenal, and his friend, who I don't think is a footballer but may well be, I don't know, says, so me and Wilfried Zaha have a message for you guys. Zaha to Arsenal, that was the message. And again, Wilfried Zaha and Arsenal, I'm pressuring you into this deal. Now look, everyone knows that he was available for £80 million apparently, or that's what Crystal Palace wanted. And now he said that he really wants to leave. He wants to play Champions League football. He should be playing European football. He really should. Wilfried Zaha is more than capable of playing at a higher level. I'd like to see more from him. Fraud Gang Members Club members, you're joining in your droves. I see you. The club is strong. The more people that join as well, the more emojis get unlocked. I did 3 more new ones this morning, so I will do more later on tonight. The Story of Doc, Rudewood Bowl, I see you. Nicholas Clem, absolute heroes. ZRE as well, welcome to the club. Happy to be part of the Fraud Gang officially. Love your videos, Hugh. Have been following you since the Kick TV days. Now that is true fraudulence, mate. That is a long time. That is a long time. Okay, so quickly then, I'm going to go over some other headlines whilst we're here, and I've got you. If you do love these videos or just content from your boy, I need you to drop the video a damn like in the next 30 seconds while I go and get myself a drink. I will be back promptly, but I've got to get a coffee, okay? Okay, cheers for waiting, lads. Much love to you. You are appreciated. Let's get back down to it.
I would say that, be excited.
Joseph, let me just read your super chat. Where are you? Hey Hugh, hope you're well. You are the god amongst frauds. My buddy Juan is a Liverpool fan. Banter him for his not being gold like ours. Listen, Juan, there is ironically only one gold trophy. And there will only ever be one gold trophy. It's great what you've achieved, but it will never come close to what the icon, and the arse accomplished. Many have tried, many more will fail in their attempts to. Unlucky, son. Yeah. Unlucky. You were close. What's his name? Saar. Yeah, Saar. Oh, Saar. Watford. Incredible. Watford Dons. They did their one job before they got relegated, and for that much we love them. All in jest. I hope you've enjoyed your Premier League success. It's taken a long time for it to turn up, hasn't it? Enjoy it while you got it. Ali Zaidi says, Arsenal in for £25 million. Quincy Promes. Check Twitter. Oh, wow. The only problem is that this is a story that I believe stems from a publication that I do not read or buy. And as a result, I'm questioning whether or not to focus on it. However, I will bring you over to this version. No, don't do that. What are you trying to do here, mate? What are you trying to do? You're trying to get me copyright strikes and all that. This massive fraud. Okay. Here we go. Fraudling. Nicholas Kem. You are an absolute legend. Let me take you over to this here. This is the story that people are talking about. Mikel Arteta is lining up a £25 million move for Ajax winger Quincy Promes. The Gunners were linked to the Dutchman last year. This is according to reports. But it's I can't deal with that. I don't know whether to believe that. It looks like absolute nonsense. But why Would Arsenal be looking for that when they've just signed Willian? I know that Willian is being linked to a more central move or playing in a more central position, but I do question the validity of said statements. Lavaloon, you're an absolute legend. You didn't say anything, but I love you either way. Jenky687 says, Hugh, you absolute fraud. The Willian Coutinho deals seem exciting, but I find it fraudulent that we're not focusing on a DM or centre-back. It'll be deja vu. Well, we are focusing on a centre-back, but we've only got the money to do one or two bits, and I guess it's what falls into place dependent on who is leaving the club as well. That is going to be just as important as who we can bring in. But Quincy Promes, what are your thoughts on potentially bringing the Dutchman to the arse? That sounds like a lot of nonsense, but we will do our little investigative stuff. 28 years old, favours his position on the left-hand side, 20 appearances, 12 goals, 4 assists, can play on the other wing, valued at about £15.75 million, and his contract expires in 2024. So that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen, is it? Très, très intéressant. He has got experience from all over the place, having started in the Netherlands. I guess 2002 to Ajax Youth from... Yeah, he's from Amsterdam. Haarlem Youth, Twente, or whatever they're called. Spartak Moscow for £10.3 million. Then they sold him 4 years later for £18 million to Sevilla, who sold him within a year for a loss of £4 million. He's an exciting player, very explosive, technically gifted. I wonder if we can have a look at some highlights. Perhaps not today. We will be doing some highlights though. I'll do a little video on him if this does appear to be going further. I don't know how much truth there is to it. The only the only source that I've got linked to this story is some that I question the validity of. I know what it's like now. The rumour mill is crazy. Arsenal fans looking for answers, especially when things aren't being confirmed. You're going to have random people throwing names out. Look, let's go over. Where is he? Have we got an Ornstein tweet? I just found this quite amusing, really. Where is the summary tweet? Yeah, I mean, it's just all guesswork. I don't think they've actually got a clue. I think a lot of journalists have lost their contacts at Arsenal with the new structure of the club, and they're being drip-fed information, if at all. Let's not forget that a lot of these guys are simply, as I am, sat in a room during this time and haven't been able to go up and down the country trying to get interviews or exclusive information. So you've got a whole bunch of people relying on a very few, and as a result, I think there's a lot of nonsense being talked about. However, yes, it should be a DM and a centre-back that Arsenal are prioritising, and they may well be. If we can get the money together for Thomas Partey, when they are eventually eliminated or win the Champions League, we'll get some conclusion over that. You're not going to see any before then. And as far as the centre-back goes, if Gabriel Magalhaes is the number one target, then the likelihood is that, again, you're going to have to wait for Napoli to have sorted out their situation with Koulibaly before you get any advancement on that deal, because it's simply not going to happen. They're not just going to sell without replacing, and he is, I think, their number one target as well. So Arsenal may well even have to look elsewhere. However, we move on. Plenty of super chats. You are all much appreciated. Get your comments in. Now is your moment. We have got Harry Bennett says, Spurs have just signed the best Pierre in North London. That, my friends, is massive fraudulence. And when you see massive fraudulence, you call it out.
Time to go!
Absolute nonsense. However, a good signing, a shrewd signing. We have talked about the deal. Højbjerg is here. He will add balance to that side. I'm convinced about that. You've got Ndombele. You can see Ndombele here, but if reports are to be believed, Ndombele could well be making a move away from the club. He has been linked to Inter Milan, but you would potentially see Højbjerg linking up with Lo Celso either side of Ndombele, and Højbjerg sat behind, and that in itself could be quite nicely balanced. Mourinho is certainly going to want to switch away from, I think, just the involvement of Dele Alli on the break is kind of counterintuitive to what they're trying to do, but that's just me. Anyhow, who else we got? We got Tom. We got Gunnar Armory GSC. I always get that wrong. Goon S Armory. Or Goons Armory? I'm not sure. I'll say Goons Armory. GSA says, are we looking at Quincy from Ajax because Danny is wanted back at Madrid? I don't think he's a centre midfielder. He's a winger, primarily on the left-hand side. But having said that, if you believe the stuff that's coming out of the club right now, is that Willian's technically good enough to play a more central role and actually doesn't like playing on the wing. At Chelsea, he seems to be doing a job that he was asked of him, but essentially, from what I understand, he actually prefers playing in like a number 10 role, and wouldn't be adverse to doing so at Arsenal. Let me know your thoughts. Is Willian good enough to play in a more central role, maybe a number 10, similar to what I guess Lacazette has been doing recently? And let me know your thoughts on anything I'm saying as well. If there's anything you disagree with, get in the chat, get in the comments. I reply to as many people as possible when the video goes live. And we have got a little family going in the Discord. We've got the Discord where it's a community of people, massive frauds, who are doing all sorts all the time, whether it's memes or talking about football or, all sorts, basically. Get in the Discord. There are a few admins and Fraud Gang Discord generals in the chat. If you need a link, someone will drop it there for you about now. There's a few freeloading frauds in here as well. Let's exercise those thumbs, yeah? Let's exercise those thumbs, baby!
You gotta fucking die to get 3 points!
Are we trying to get those 3 points or not? What are we doing? Are we trying to get those 3 points? I need my frauds to get 3 points! Thumbs. Exercise. Points, win prizes. If you actually want me to keep doing this, the more support you show, the more you're going to get. It's that simple, okay? Anyhow, I don't want to harp on. Tom Snack says there's rumours that Agent Birdcamp is trying to convince Van der Beek to come to Arsenal. They should replace Edu with Birdcamp. Also, thoughts on the Anelka documentary. I've given my thoughts on Anelka in general. Never mind the documentary. I don't need a documentary to tell me what to think about Nicolas Anelka.
Let me talk. Let me talk.
Basically, he single-handedly paid for, I guess him and Wenger really single-handedly paid for, with Nicolas Anelka's talent and his business acumen or scouting system. He made an incredible profit, didn't he? Within a very short space of time, an incredibly talented teenager who lit up European football from PSG to Arsenal, Real Madrid, and back. And he's played for some of the biggest clubs in the world, full stop. The talent, undeniable. The attitude and mentality and the approach to work, business, money, life in general, questionable at best. And I sense a real kind of victim mentality where there's no denying that him and his brother have taken advantage of the world that football has become, the business world of football that it has become. And so I don't feel sorry for him. I feel quite sad because if he'd stayed at Arsenal or one of those other big clubs, he could be a club legend, which I think you can safely say he is at none of the clubs. regardless, that's my own personal opinion. Fantastic striker, and I'm grateful for the fact that his transfer was able to pay for London Colney, and of course that in itself is fucking incredible. It transformed Arsenal, it really did. Anyway, we have got Taylor Scott. Oh, I think Bergkamp for Edu would be fantastic as well. The only thing I don't like about Bergkamp, which I didn't like as a kid, is that he can't fly, which is just like not going to work. So, no. You can't be an international money maker or a linker or a business don who's reliable and turns up on time and gets things done if you can't take the odd flight. It just doesn't make any sense. Taylor Scott. Would you take Morelas from Rangers or Edouard from Celtic if Lacazette leaves? I don't want to even entertain the idea of Lacazette leaving, but if he does, I wouldn't want Morelas. No, he gets too many red cards. And Edouard, I'm just not sold on, if I'm honest. He would be a backward step from Lacazette, in my opinion. That's my opinion. I think technically Lacazette is far superior to both of those players. And it's just a great shame that people have become so wrapped up, and I do it myself sometimes, but wrapped up in the amount of goals or assists that someone is getting and judging the player's ability or potential ability by that number. It's just backwards. It's backwards, and it doesn't take into account any kind of context. I'll give you an example. Guendouzi's stats are through the roof when Unai Emery is involved because he's made him a centrifugal part of the system. Iwobi is looking like statistically the best player at the club because he has been put in a system that makes him have a certain role. And if you fulfill that role, the stats add up. And you can stat pad your way, basically, to looking like a better player. We've seen with Iwobi that, he is probably not worth the £40 million that Arsenal will end up getting for him. And I think that you'll find it's quite similar with Edouard or other players like that. However, I do think that Lacazette is being massively underrated now, or is at the stage where people have written him off completely, and they think that Eddie Nketiah is going to have the same impact or ability in terms of hold-up play when we're playing against deeper set opposition or, other tactics. I cannot stress how wrong that is. I cannot stress it. And if Arsenal was to do that, without replacing him with a similar type, it would be really dangerous, really, to be that reliant on Aubameyang anyway. Lavaloon says, hello, didn't know how this worked, but I'll try again. Why don't you ever appear on the AFTV watch-alongs or interviews? We'd love to see you there. Well, my fraudulent friend...
I would say that, be excited.
Yeah, be excited about me being here, because this is where I live. And if you want to see me, this is the place to do it, okay? I like to be my own man, all right? I don't want to ride on the coattails of anyone else. I know Robbie. I've loved Robbie for many a year. He's a very, very successful, shrewd man. And I've not got a bad word to say about anyone, but I am able to keep it like that because I just keep myself to myself. So I hope that doesn't offend anyone. I realise that it would be very much in my benefit to just be on Arsenal Fan TV, but I just have no interest in being on, any other channel but this one, really. This is like my house, so I'm trying to build my house. Help me to build my house. Come in while I decorate the bathroom. It's great here. You can get that there. It's there. All right? We're two separate entities, and I'm a wolf, not a sheep. I'll say that much, okay? Anyhow, much love to your mother. Thanks for getting involved. Harry Hobbins says, love your vids, Hugh. Been a fan since 2015. Best football channel out there. Happy to be fraud gang for life. And that makes me so happy. Wow.
I'm so happy, believe me. I'm so happy. Happy New Year.
Absolute legend, Double H in the building. Josh H says, could you check CTR Football footy comps on Twitter? Okay. I can't do that right now, bro, because of copyright. But there are alternative streams available that you can find in the Discord, where we do that sort of fraudulent activity on a regular basis. If you want to get involved there, just join the Discord and you get notified of when we're going up. All right. Larch says, I can't make out the last word in breaking news for that ass. Oh, wow. Incredible scenes. I can't believe I'm having to explain that. But look, I know for a fact that you are hearing my language being used by other people, because this is what I do. I set trends I don't follow. All right. It's cool. I can smell it. You can smell it. We hear it. We know who we are. I see you. I see all of you. Anyhow, Goons S Armory GSA is the newest member of the True Fraud Gang Members Club. You beautiful, beautiful man. Much love to your mother for getting involved. Too High to Die says, I love that. Too High to Die, 420. I honestly see no potential in Eddie, is what he says. Much love. I mean, that is a great shame. Eddie's a goal-getter, okay? He is a goal-getter with a great goal-scoring record for a kid of his age, and he actually does understand football. I would say technically he's not got a scratch on Lacazette, but that's not saying anything, because Lacazette is very talented and, as we say, incredibly underrated these days. Listen, lads, we've talked about quite a lot in this one. We've gone all the way from Arsenal to Manchester United to Juventus, Man City, Brazilians, Frenchmen, strikers, defenders, transfer news, rumours and talks of the future. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let's go through the last couple of messages before we do make a move. Cash Chuckers saying selling Lacazette and Ainsley Maitland-Niles to buy Willian and not buying Ceballos all sounds like a genius way to maintain our hold on 8th place. Listen, just remember.
I would say that, be excited.
Don't worry, never fear. Cronky is here. Tom Snack says, have you seen Pogba's tweet? Could it be Sancho? Pogba's tweet, I'm going to tell you straight off the bat, is... let's just get it over here and switch you over here. Pogba's tweet says nothing but tomorrow with a little eye emoji. And he's actually tweeted since then saying, one clue for tomorrow, nothing about football. So I'm presuming that's nothing to do with Jadon Sancho. Sorry to disappoint you. People love to look for these clues though, don't they? Oh my God. Jadon Sancho's fourth cousin removed has started following Ed Woodward's half-brother on Grindr. Like what? Who cares? Why? No. Gabriel has liked a picture which says, if you're joining Arsenal, like the picture. Ooh, is he reading this? Can he read English? Can he speak English? Do we know? I don't know. It's all a load of nonsense. No one knows anything based on a like. And a lot of the time I would imagine that agents and players are just playing fans by liking things, saying, that they're linked with these people or going anywhere else. There's a lot of people in the Twitter, actually. I do want to say this before I leave. If you are ever watching the stream, right, and you want to send me a picture of yourself or the screen if you don't want to put yourself on, send me a picture on Instagram and I'll put it on my story, okay? Hopefully it'll get you a few people looking at your profile or some likes or something, or you can just be on the story, right? But whenever you're watching, I know a lot of people tune in the mornings now to watch the Paper Talk thing. Send me a picture of you getting up, watching it, and I'll put it on my Instagram story. I can see people have been doing it on my Twitter as well. So much love to Jay Sully 325, Tom Warwick, and all the rest of the frauds who are doing just that. I see you, I appreciate you, and quick shout out to Ashley Lewis, who is the newest certified Fraud Gang Alang member.
You've got to fucking die to get 3 points.
Yeah, Ashley Lewis dies to get 3 points. I can see my Donny. Yeah? Okay. Much love for getting involved. Subhajit Chatterjee says, "You know nothing, Jon Snow." Now, I'm presuming that's a reference to Game of Thrones, which is a show that I've never seen. But I do know the character. I think you're actually... The Jon Snow that you've spelt is Jon Snow, the Channel 4 newsreader. Jon Snow from Game of Thrones, I believe, only has Jon. There is no H. Is his catchphrase, "You know nothing"? Let me see. Oh, yes. Wait. Okay. Yeah, I've never seen that. Don't know anything about it. I'm not really into fantasy. Reality is frightening enough. Anyhow, Game of Frauds is what I'm all about. If you're liking the videos and whatnot, make sure you smash the hell out of the like button. Subscribe if you're new. And drop the video a damn like.
Let me talk. Let me talk.
If you breathe oxygen. But for now, my name's hughwizzy and this has been...
Good evening. Good evening.
a lot of fun. Oh, who's... Okay. Ashley Lewis has got him with a late super chat. That was an injury time spectacular. And Ashley Lewis, a.k.a. Fraudly Harrison, in the building. We also welcome Bradley Skinner to the True Fraud Gang Members Club. I salute you. I appreciate you. And I am so happy.
I'm so happy. Happy New Year.
But for now, it is time to go. I'm going to love you and leave you. My name's been hughwizzy, and this has been a lot of fun. Peace, guys.
Time to go!
I would say that, be excited.